Hi, everyone. Welcome to Real Talk with Coach Sherri. And this channel is about workforce development, career readiness, entrepreneurship, and of course, real issues, real problems, real life, and real talk. And if you are new to this channel, I would like to take this time to invite you to subscribe and join the team. If you feel that this content is going to be beneficial to someone in your circle, be sure to share and invite them to join this live or to check out the replay. Also, if you are already a member of this team, thank you so much for rocking with me. I truly appreciate you. Wow, you guys, this has been a week of all weeks for me. This has been a lot of great things going on, took a lot of my energy. So I am just happy to be here today with you and especially with my guest. This is my seventh episode of Real Talk with Coach Sherri Live. And I am happy to introduce to you my special guest, Corey Raley-Ross. He is a professional basketball player, and he is here to talk to us about leveling up. It is so important to level up and to stay the course. I call it having stick to itness. So everything may not always go exactly how you want, but as long as you stick with it, you will achieve your goals. And to achieve your goals, it takes commitment, hard work, dedication, and it also takes protecting your brands along the way. And those are things that Corey is going to share with us. So welcome, Corey. How
Thanks.
are
Thanks.
you?
I'm well. I'm very well. Thanks for having me. It's a pleasure.
Absolutely. Absolutely, absolutely. And you might see the logo up there, the IT, that's for Immaculate Training, which is, yes, yeah, which is his brother's business, Immaculate Training, the it factor. And I know Corey plays a huge role in that as well. So I wanted to represent that and show that too. So, Corey, how's it been? We haven't seen each other talked in so long. How have you been?
Well, in the midst of a pandemic, it's been good. I'm healthy. Immediate family's healthy. I see you're healthy, and we're still making ends meet. So it's been
Yes,
a while. It's
yes.
what
It's
better way
been
to link up?
absolutely, absolutely. It has been a while. And periodically, Corey, I'm going to look into the chat box to see my eyes, my vision. Oh my goodness. Try to read this. So I see Pandy's here. Candy and Moore is here. Hello, Coach Sherri. She says, and guest Corey Raley-Ross just shared out. Thank you so much, Pandy. Thank you. She shared out this live to her channel. So I appreciate that. And I also
Awesome.
see Immaculate Trainings in the building. It Factor. All right. As you come into the building, please announce yourself. I would love to recognize you, as well as don't forget to give the live a thumbs up. And we have so much information. If you have questions for myself or the guests, be sure to leave it in the chat box. So, Corey, I really wanted to also talk about your basketball career, of course, and specifically right now, I want to talk about AAU. Unfortunately, right now, for young people, AAU season is not happening. And I know, especially for rising seniors, rising juniors, sophomores, even, that must be a challenging situation because they want to get the looks from colleges and, try to secure their scholarship. So for you, first of all, when did you fall in love with basketball?
That's a very good question. That's a very good question. I fell in love with basketball. I fell in love with basketball after a dream that I had as an 8 year old, and I don't even know how many people I've shared this story with. But I recall, I recall spending the night over my cousin's house, and my cousin, he's probably the only person in our family at the time who had a basketball goal in their backyard, and we would just play all night, all night, all night. Now I'm an 8 year old, and so I just remember having a dream, and it was It was an NBA player. I'm not going to say who this player is, but I could see him. I could see him, and it was him. But it was as if I was looking into the future at myself. And at that moment, I mean, as an 8-year-old, it gave me chills. I remember waking up with just like a different energy surrounding basketball, and the first thing I did was I grabbed the ball and I went out to shoot. I went out to shoot a pull up jump shot. That's what I saw in my dream, and that's what I went and shot.
Who was the
And
basketball player?
it was Michael Jordan.
Ah, okay.
Yeah. So I
Wow.
knew right then and there, and it was. I mean, it's been with me the whole time.
Yeah, that's awesome. It's really good to have that focal point. It could be a person, place, or thing that really motivates you, that you see yourself being similar to, and really striving for that. It's like that goal that you're always reaching for, and that's a great visualization. So, I know he has been and still is a great influencer for many. Um, so, in terms of AAU, what was that like for you in high school, in particular in high school? I know for girls, it's a lot. It's a huge commitment, and it's a lot going on at the tournaments. Everyone's trying to get that look, and I can only imagine for young men how competitive it is as well. So for you, what was that like?
Hmm. You bring about a good point. I never looked at it in terms of like the only competition with me in AAU was against my opponent. I played on some notable AAU teams. I played with the Charlotte Royals. I played with the Charlotte Aces. These are teams that have a huge history and in North Carolina for putting out professional basketball players, Division I caliber players. But for me, it was different. I mean, I had a different scope. I had a different I had different insight. I was able to see my brother Brandis, go through AAU and see the opportunity that playing well could bring about. And for me, it was just all about playing well, learning, getting better, um, and at the same time having fun. Basketball for me is always passion. So if I wasn't having fun, then I didn't want to play. And
Hmm.
I ran into a few of those roadblocks when I was young. You asked about AAU. Um, I was 13 years old, and I didn't like my situation on my team, and I took a step away. And I didn't play AAU again until I was 15. But
Wow.
that player who I became from 13 to 15 was a totally different player. And I mean that's a part of the level up. I didn't like my situation, and I never wanted to go back to being devalued as a player or
Hmm.
behind a player that I knew that I was better than. So I had a lot of motivation, had a lot of intrinsic motivation that I needed to express, and I got the opportunity to. So AAU was AAU was spotty for me. I didn't necessarily rely on AAU for anything.
Hmm.
I had a source. I had a brother who had the know-how, and he gave me the know-how. My father, he knew what it took. I mean, he saw my brother go through the process, so he wasn't gonna allow me to take any shorts. And even for myself, I didn't want to take any shorts. I mean, I want basketball for myself. I wanted to. I loved it for myself first. So
That's good. Yes, and for those of you that are tuned in, you may look at him and say, "Wait, he looks familiar. He looks like someone else that you had on your show, Coach Sherri." Well, this is the brother of Brandis Raley-Ross, and this is Corey. And Corey, in his own right, is his own man, his own professional. So that's why he's here. But yes, he does favor Brandis so much. So much. What is the age difference?
4.5 years.
Wow, y'all look so much alike. Let's
Yeah.
see. We have some more people in the building, as told by Tina. Hi, how are you? Thank you for coming in. Monique Scott. Do you remember the Scott family?
Yes, I
Monique is in the
do.
building. Hey, Corey. She said, "Man, I missed Coach Ashley's interview." Well, I'm glad that you're here now. I saw Be the Difference clothing, and she makes amazing clothes. She has a great book of inspirational quotes that she wrote. Thank you for being in the building. I also see Eat, Cook, and Live It Up Smile. Thank you. Thank you all for being here. I really appreciate you for tuning in to my live on this Friday night. A beautiful evening, and you are here spending it with us. Corey, look at that. They're here with us. So when we talked about level up, and I heard you mention that regarding what you did between the age of 13 to 15, and I hope especially parents or players, coaches even, that you're listening to this interview so that you can capture some of these nuggets from his firsthand experience. So what did you do on your own since you stopped playing AAU at 13? What did you do between 13 and 15 to, work hard? How did you work hard on your own?
Oh, wow. I mean, I played varsity basketball. I played at Gaston Day School. And so, a lot of people don't, if you don't know, at the time, Gaston Day School would play, some of the top teams and all of the state. And, I played against, Word of God as a freshman in high school. My first playoff game ever as a freshman in high school was against John Wall. And I didn't know that John Wall was going to be, number one pick at the time. I didn't know he was going to, I didn't know that. I just,
Mm-hmm.
came on the court and was like, oh, I heard this team Word of God good, and they were good. They pounded us. They beat us pretty good. But I played against him, and he was a great player then, just like he is now. And I got better. That game, I got better as a player because it was me playing against something that I never seen before. He was quick, he was fast, he could dunk it.
Oh
Um,
my goodness.
I had never seen that, and just at that game and that game's notice, I was able to adapt and raise my level. So you got so many integral parts about the game of basketball that you can grasp to improve.
Mm-hmm.
And my mindset, it works that way. I love to learn. I love to learn different things. And for me, basketball is an art. And if I can take from other players, then I will. If I can learn from other players, then I will. If I can, get rid of the bad habit, of course, that's going to be the first thing on my mind. But I'm always trying to better myself in that regard. But that had a lot to do with that improvement alone, just that one
Mm-hmm.
case scenario.
So playing against really good competition really helped level up your game. And it sounds like you are a very humble player. I know you are a humble person. A humble player in any arena, on any stage, on any court or field is someone that knows that someone else may have a skill or a talent that they can learn from. And they also understand that some of their skills or talents may need to go in the on the back burner because they have to level up. And that means incorporating new things that they see, that they learn. And so it sounds like you at an early age have been able to do that. And that's really commendable for anyone out there on any arena, be it business or whatever. Don't ever think that you've arrived. There's always room to grow. There's always different people to grow from. It could be your competitor, it could be your coach. And it sounds like you started to develop your IQ as well. So explain what basketball IQ entails. Are you frozen?
My
Oh,
apologies. Can you repeat the question?
yes. Can you
It's just
explain like what a basketball IQ is? Because I hear different types of coaches will call it different things, but I know it to be, learning the game, understanding the schemes of the game, and how important is that to know, to be good or to have a high IQ in basketball.
whew, you know what? I'm as a professional now, as a 28-year-old. I'm just now. I'm still learning, and now I feel like I'm in a space where, hey, I can control my improvement. Of course, having a coach who has an abundant amount of experience can help, will help. Um, But in totality, intelligence, basketball intelligence, it stems from so many things. I mean, you can watch TV, you can go on YouTube, and you can learn and just watch different levels of basketball and learn and learn and learn, because basketball is played. There's different styles of basketball, and the different styles are in different parts of the world. The way we play in
Mhm.
America is different than the way they play in Europe, and it's different the way they play in Asia, which is different than the way they play in the oceanic countries, New Zealand, Australia, which is different than how they play in South America,
Wow.
Argentina, Mexico, Brazil, these big leagues. So it's you know, from that scope, you have so many different styles, so many different rules. FIBA helps to bring things together, um, but it's you can't learn enough. I feel like, especially with basketball. Who do you want to study? What position player do you want to study? You can take your if you're looking at your point guard, you can look at a Rondo, a guy who doesn't rely on scoring to be effective on the basketball court, but he relies on controlling the tempo, as opposed to a guy like Kyrie Irving, who is one of the most talented players I think anyone has ever seen. And he scores very well. He's going to score in the most entertaining way you've ever seen. And then you got guys like Steph Curry, who's also a point guard who affects the game with his long range shooting. So studying the game is so widespread. I mean, and I can go on and on. I can go on and on. Um, but to me, at this stage where I am, basketball intelligence is essentially being a student to the game. You got to do your due diligence. You got to work on your craft. That means you got to put the sweat equity in. You got to go to the gym. You got to get your extra reps, because if you don't, then somebody is, and that
Mhm.
somebody can be your opponent, and you want to be mindful of it. So many things at the same time. I feel personally what a lot of players are afraid to do, and I had to get over this mental this egoism, and I'm past it. I've been past it for a while. But for an example, when you watch a game, or when you watch yourself play, a lot of players, necessarily, I would say, wouldn't want to watch themselves do bad. But the worst game, I encourage every player, every young player, I encourage every young player to watch their worst game that they
Mm.
played over the course of they think they've ever played, and just watch your bad habits. Watch yourself, watch your body language, watch everything that you could have done better, and be honest with yourself of who you are and who you are as a player. And it would only make you grow. It would only
Yes.
make you grow.
I love that you said that. So many people don't understand the importance of seeing yourself in your unsuccesses and debriefing that. You know what you're good at. You know what you're great at. You know what you can do. And when you do it, you just know you did it because that's what you do. But when you don't do what you tried to do, you need to really focus and dissect that to learn how to do it better next time. What not to do is one of the best lessons you could ever learn. It's one of those like having a bad supervisor, manager, boss, marriage, relationship, teacher, whatever. Those are the ones you learn the most from because you learn what not to do. And that might be a good tip, Corey, to share with young players or players of any age really to do during this time is to look at those films when they may have lost a huge game or when they know that they didn't get a lot of playing time. And when they did, what did they do when they were in the game? And look at the other players too. What were they doing to stay in the game? So that would be a great session to have. It would. I want to go back to the chat real quick. Um, as told by Tina saying hello. Let's see. Uh, let me move down. I'm down a little bit further. Immaculate Training is saying another great show. I appreciate you. He's saying level up, nuggets, improving mindset, learning from other players, getting rid of bad habits. Absolutely. Hi, NQ's World. Thank you. Welcome to the live. And I see everyone speaking to each other in the live chat. That's great. And Immaculate Training is also saying basketball intelligence, being a student of the game, sweat equity. He's just capturing some of your nuggets. And I hope that you all are writing some of these nuggets down. You could be tweeting some of these nuggets. Watch the worst game, look at your habits, body language, and be honest with yourself. And NQ's world is definitely agreeing with that. Oh, those are all great points. And just think, Corey, this is coming from our interview. So listen, you went back to AAU at 15, you were recruited and you selected University at Buffalo. What made you decide on University at Buffalo?
Uh, that's a good question. I was just asked this question recently by a friend. What made you go to Buffalo? Why way up to Buffalo from Charlotte?
So cold.
I had a really good connection with at the time at the time the assistant coach there at Buffalo. His name was Turner Battle. He recruited me. He played my position. He's from Winston-Salem, North Carolina. He was a really good player at the time. At the time, his jersey's retired in the Buffalo Hall of Fame, in the Sports Hall of Fame, and I admired him. I looked up to him. I knew he believed in me as a basketball player. He made that known. I remember playing on the circuit, AAU, and if you know me, then you know this. My immediate family knows this, but I got hurt literally in maybe my first point that I scored, and in the 17 on the showcase, I got hurt and I turned my ankle. Like I just remember like yelling when it first happened. That's how painful it was. But I turned my ankle and like I was just a shell of myself. I couldn't play. I was on one leg, and this is the showcase. So like 17 under. I'm gonna play against a couple of ranked guys. And, I'm gonna have a lot of schools there to come watch me play. And at the time, I was playing with Team United, and I had 4 or 5 other Division I players. There's an NBA player on my team at the time. We were really good, really good team, and I was just upset that I couldn't, be myself. But
Wow.
What to say? Buffalo was there. He Coach Battle. He stuck with me. He watched me try to play on a hurt wheel and a flat tire, and they still offered me. I remember him calling me, telling me, "Hey, man, I know who you are as a player. I know what you can do, and we believe in you." And he offered me, in the beginning of August, and me, because I felt like I had more to prove. I waited. I waited to commit. I waited to commit until April. I actually committed on my dad's birthday, April 2010, and then that's how things went. That
Wow.
was my decision making.
So that was the beginning of your brand because they recognized that you were resilient, and having probably seen you play prior to and was just at that showcase to see, okay, how did he mature, and to see that you made that shot but you were still resilient, you had stick-to-itness, and that is part of a person's brand. So that's commendable because not every school or every coach would necessarily um, still select a player that got injured like that. But them knowing who you were as a person, I think probably helped as well. And I know for you that has carried on. So in college, how was that being so far away from home and playing with a new set of men, young men, and that's leveling up as well. So how did you have to put it into gear to have success in college as well?
I coach, you're going in and out
But
a little
no,
bit. I can make out what you're saying. I'm sorry about this.
it's
Also
fine.
sent you a message.
Okay.
Also sent you a message. Chat.
Okay.
Um,
Thanks for letting me know that.
so you asked.
Okay. All right. Your battery is okay. Okay, that's fine. Yes. So I was asking, when you went to college, and how did you level up in college so that you can have continued success and just evolve what you've done already in high school?
Ooh, that's another good question. For me, college was interesting. I don't feel like I maximized my opportunity in college, and uh, that's my own personal opinion. Hindsight, you know,
Why do
hindsight,
you say
insight,
that?
foresight,
Why, why do you
being
think
able to
that?
look back. Uh, I say I say that because I had all the aspirations to become a professional, and I never doubted that I would become a professional. But I didn't know what it took at the time to become a professional. Thus, I was just stuck in being a college player and just being a good college player. And what I believe those guys who are one and done players, those guys aren't just they aren't one and done by playing one season. They're one and done probably by the years in an hour. They're probably an NBA player in high school based on their knowledge and ethic. Maybe they need to get a bit stronger. Maybe they need more experience, but they've already got it figured out for the most part. It doesn't happen by accident. I just think
Mhm.
if I knew what it took to get to this level now, then I would have approached it differently. Instead, I'm in college. I'm a young kid. I'm 18 years old. 10 hour drive from home. I'm still figuring things out. I'm still getting used to getting to sleep on time. I'm still getting used to being disciplining myself. I'm still getting used to not going to practice tired. I'm getting used to all these things, and I'm being honest because it's very real,
Mhm.
and a lot of players go through it. But
Yeah.
college for me was a great opportunity, and I needed to find myself. It made me find myself not only as a basketball player but as a person. Being away from home, I only had myself to truly rely on. So
Yeah.
that was everything, and I felt around the time I began to actually figure it out, it was too late. It was too late to make the impact on my teammates and uh, our team the way I truly wanted to. And it's an opportunity that, like, again, I can say that maybe I didn't take the most advantage of, but it was the greatest experience for me because I learned so much. I went through humiliating experience. I went through humbling experiences that only pulled me closer to my passion, which is
Mhm.
expressing myself as a basketball player.
Wow. Corey, that if I was in this chat, like I feel like I'm listening to this interview as a spectator. Oh, we lost him because his phone went out. Oh, his phone lost its charge, you guys. Oh, I wanted to know, and I'm sure you wanted to know too, what would he have done differently? What did he learn about himself? What did he how how would he have navigated college so that he would have been prepared sooner for the next level? Oh, I had so many questions around that. Didn't you? Did you have questions around that too? I see Carter's Eats is in the building. Hi, Soror. How are you? Let's see. Um, Yes, and Immaculate Training is even echoing when he was saying he didn't know what it took to become a professional when he was in college. College, was a different experience for him. And not everyone that even gets a scholarship necessarily knows when they go to college, especially if they want to go to the next level, what it actually takes to get to that next level. And I was so looking forward to hearing him share with us what he learned it did take to get to that next level. Mm. I'm gonna drop my link in the box. If Brandis, if you would not mind coming up, let me see if I can find the link. Yes. Um, so that you can come and possibly share some of your nuggets around that as well, that would be great. I'm going to drop my link in the chat. I'm going to have it in there for a little bit, and I want to invite you in so that we can continue. I know Corey had sent me a message, and he said that his battery was on 4%. So I wanted to get that. But you know what? Even not just in sports, a lot of times people going into business, going into college, just as a student, not a student athlete, but just a student, may not always know what it takes to level up, what it takes to take full advantage of all the opportunities, take advantage of the networking that's there, the discipline that you do need, and implementing it while you're in college so that when you go to that next level, you are absolutely ready. And so I was really excited and hopeful to hear more about that with Corey. Because that's one of the reasons why businesses, it might be a great concept. A person gets a great concept, has a great skill, and when they start the business, they didn't realize all the hard work that it took to get to that next level, to take that business to the next level. And a lot of times they stop. But the great thing about Corey, even though he said that he was learning about, he learned about what it took to get to the next level late. He calls it too late, but obviously it wasn't, because he still was able to have and still have a professional career in basketball at the age of 28. He still is in the league. He is playing for, his last team was Prison Kosovo. I'm not good with the pronunciation, but he's played in Berlin, Germany. He's played in Palma, Santa Cruz. He's played in Estonia. He's played in Spain. So obviously, even though it may have been later than he, would have liked it to be, he still was able and is still able to have success in a profession that he has a passion for. And so it's never too late. It's never too late. As long as you catch it early enough and you recognize, and obviously he recognized, like, wait a minute, I need to get my act together if I want to go on and have success in this field. This is my passion. This is what I want to do. Because playing a professional sport, having a successful business, having a successful career is more than a notion. It's more than an idea. It's action steps that you have to take on a daily basis. It's things that you have to put into place. It's things that you have to do to make yourself a subject matter expert, to make yourself a professional, to connect yourself with the right people. And he's right. The earlier you do it, of course, the better, because you're able to really groom yourself early towards that goal. But there's a lot of people that, playing catch up is still, it still allows them to gain that success that they need. I see people in the building are talking and saying hello. Thank you, Carter's Eats. She says, good, my beloved, sweet, sweet soror. Thank you. Let's see. Oh, this is a cliffhanger, Carter's Eats. It is. Oh, so I'm glad to see everyone speaking. Brandis Raley-Ross is about to join me on the panel. He is the older brother of Corey. Brandis was my first Real Talk with Coach Sherri guest, and he is a professional basketball player as well. So he can speak on and elaborate even from his own experiences with what Corey was sharing with us. So I'm bringing him on now. Hi, Brandis. How are you?
I'm great. I'm giving my younger brother an assist right now, but yes. I'm doing good.
I love it. Thank you. I appreciate it. So he left us with a cliffhanger, and not necessarily you having to elaborate on his experience, of course, but I'm sure that you can expound on your own experience regarding just anything in life that you've experienced where you thought you may have been prepared, but you weren't fully. And when you got there, you're like, oh, wow, let me, I really want this. Let me hunker down and do what I need to do. So what is that like? What does that look like?
It's called failure, and everybody experiences it. You can't hide from it. I remember reading a quote from Oprah, and she said that you're gonna experience failure. Welcome back, Corey. And it'll show up. If you don't learn to overcome failure, it'll continue to show up in different forms. And different failures that I've overcome has been starting Immaculate training and having this idea of what I thought it was going to be, and then actually it not being that, and having to overcome the failures of maybe not being able to connect with the right group of people, or maybe not being able to get the numbers at an event that I would want. Small things like that, and you have to fail forward. And you, like in Corey's instance, he wasn't ready for what he needed to do in order to be successful at the collegiate level. I can say the same thing about different opportunities that I've had in professional leagues. Maybe I would come into a league and, I wasn't 100% of understanding the kind of role that I needed to play in order to be successful. So I'll have like a mediocre season, and it had nothing to do with anything other than my experience and the not knowing what it took. So you learn from these things. You don't let them destroy you. You got to learn from them. You got to, like Corey said, self-evaluate and be completely honest with yourself. So yeah, it's failure. You're going to experience, you got to learn how to overcome it.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And my husband likes to call it unsuccesses. You have those moments in your life where, you thought that it was going to be a success, but it didn't. However, you are moving forward with it because now you know what to do next time. And you know how to even mentor someone that may be almost going through what you're going through so that they don't go down that same path as well. Welcome back, Corey. How are you? And thank you, Brandon, for sharing that, because, you have your business as well as your professional career so that you can, see what those two look like. And just because, one thing was an easy breezy doesn't mean the other is going to be easy breezy either. You have to know that you might have to put it into a different gear to get through that barrier or to get through that path. So I'm glad. Yes, Be the Difference Clothing. He is back. That's good. So, Corey, you left us with a cliffhanger. Everybody was like, wait, what? What's going on?
I'm so sorry.
So you straight now with the technology?
We're good. We're good. We're good.
Okay. All right. Well, Brandon, you're welcome to stay and just hang out with us and chime in too, because, you guys don't they look just alike? I was talking
not so much.
Yes. So Corey, you were telling us about how with college you really didn't you didn't feel as if you did all you needed to do to prepare to go to the next level. Speaking to your younger self, or speaking to younger players that are out there now who are getting ready to go to college, who are in college, what would you suggest? Like, what lessons or tips would you give them to take advantage of the opportunity?
Many. I would say first, I like this quote. It's all right, scratch that. I would just say it's about management. You got to manage yourself, like the way you see, like the way you plan to see yourself in the future. Um, if I could give advice to my younger self, I would just say get on the schedule. Get on the schedule. Uh, I should be the first one in the gym. I should be the last one out of the gym. That should be mandatory, and then get to bed early. Everything else, in college you're already on the schedule. You got class, everything's free, everything's paid for. There's no excuses. Everything else surrounding you outside of what your priorities are is a distraction. and it's how you let those distractions take over. So I would just prioritize better and self-manage better. Things that I have to do today, on a daily basis, because nobody's gonna do it for me. Of course, I'm an adult, just like us all. Uh, but those things for me at that time were key: time management, self-management, discipline, those little things. I would do my best scheduling. I would do my best to get ahead of my current situation. Therefore, hey, if I'm tired, it's nothing for me to be like, okay, well, instead of, shooting these extra shots, my extra work today after practice is going to be the fact that I'm hustling home and that I'm going to get some sleep. I'm going to get
Right.
some sleep tonight. And tomorrow morning when I wake up, I'm going to wake up a little earlier. I'm going to get to the gym a little earlier. So, all these things are relative to my life today. And at that time, I didn't realize it. I didn't realize it. I was only, I was a college student, thinking in the back of my mind that I had time to get things right.
Hmm. I always think that there's tomorrow. Oh, I can put this off. So realistically, no matter what the age, you cannot put off tomorrow what you could do today and
Right.
sacrifice today so that tomorrow can be a little easier. And tomorrow really never comes because it never gets easier. But it's just to know that when you do wake up tomorrow, you have another chance at it. It's just that today you have to make the most of it. So being that you felt that you didn't necessarily prepare fully, what did you have to do to make up for that once you graduated, once you realized like, wait, I want to be in the league? How did you make up for that?
Well, I'm, I'm not in the league. I'm not in the league that I dreamed of myself, as an 8 year old that I would be. Um, but I am a professional. I am a professional in my craft, and it took a lot to get there. It took a lot. I had to face myself. From really wasting a lot of time, and it's almost like when you waste time, it's like you have to not only double up on what you didn't do, you kind of have to do 4 times the amount of work to just get back in front. And then when you get back in front, you got to stay in front, and then you got to get ahead, and you got to stay ahead, and then you got to stay ahead of guys that are coming out because these are young, ambitious versions of myself,
Goodness.
like people just like me who are younger, who love basketball just like I do, who want a job. So it's a challenge, and for me, I was lucky, I was blessed. I have an older brother who's a professional again, like he was a college player. So for me, I could see it, and if I could see it, I could do it. And
Hmm.
he made that very easy for me to follow. I appreciate him. He knows how much I appreciate him. Immaculate Training, his brand had a lot to do with it. Essentially after college, I had a year off, and the year off was because I didn't really have anything to show from college, and I didn't have any contracts. So I did a tour. I went to China. I coach with my now sister-in-law, my brother's wife. She coached at Northside Christian High School. I coached with her, and we did very well. I mean, she did all the work, but I was there, and I was trying to be the best, then assistant coach as I could. Kudos to her. I appreciate her so much. She's a boss, and I learn from her daily. I learn from these two daily. Um, and coaching with her, she instilled a lot of discipline in me, a lot of discipline, and I needed that right away for where I was in my life, and it carried over. For me, it translated. She's demanding me not to only be on time, but to be early,
Hmm.
and I'm coaching. She coached the women's side, the Northside Christian, and I have to be an example to these young ladies. They're looking at me, so I had to hold myself accountable like no other because I gotta be an example for the youth, and just those different things help to prepare me. All the while I'm still playing basketball. I got on with the semi-pro team in the area, and I played with them. Just for the game experience, just to play against different competition, and I was just as thankful for that opportunity as I was to play college basketball because I know what basketball means to me. And all those things in my head, in my mind, in my heart, prepared me for where I am today. not for where I was a year after that, or 2 years after that, or 3 years after that, but today, because for me it was a sacrifice, and me playing, semi-pro didn't pay me, but it wasn't about that. It was about what I believed in myself, and of course things came to fruition.
Absolutely. I've been taking down notes because I really, don't take it for granted that people know exactly what you do and how you do it. The sacrifice, like you were saying, that you made is part of your journey. It's made you to who you are, because as long as you remain humble and grateful, so many blessings will continue to flow, because you're not taking anything for granted. You are keeping those legs moving in spite of any challenges or obstacles that may come your way and that have come your way. And that's why you continuously are rewarded. You're rewarded with other opportunities that, may be beyond your imagination. In terms of the tour, you spoke about a tour in China. We're here in America, and I'm sure, and I do have listeners in other countries as well. But here in America, like, what does that mean? A tour in China? What does that mean? Like, who did you tour with? How did that
It
come
was
about?
it was a basketball tour. Um, then again, all the credit, much credit to Immaculate training. It pretty much, uh, hosted a couple of events, camps, and whoever played well at the camp, got an opportunity to play on the tour. I was one of those individuals who played well because I prepared well, and I got this opportunity. And I was, okay, now I'm in China. This is now, it will be 6 years this fall when I left and when I went. And when I went out there, when I was playing on the tour, I knew right away, after 3 or 4 games, that I was a professional. So that was reassurance enough for me. Um, Being in China also just opened me up to the world, and I've always wanted to travel, but experiencing the Great Wall, being in Shanghai, one of the biggest cities in the world, if not the biggest city, I'm not sure. It was it really opened me up to the world. It really opened me up to everything. So for me, that's in terms of professionalism. That's where it started. That's when I got the taste,
You know,
and that
I
was that was done.
I
I was gonna say that was done with the help of Immaculate.
absolutely, and I know with the exposure camps that Immaculate training has for athletes that are trying to level up. I know that Brandis, you and Immaculate Training have done a phenomenal job. And for those of you who are listening, that are watching, even if you know a person, obviously, I mean, they're not twins, but they're brothers. Still, Corey had to still work hard in those camps. I've been to a couple of those camps and I've seen Corey on the court, and it's as if he doesn't even know Brandis. Like, he still has to go in and do his very best. And that is the thing. Don't ever think that in life you're going to just get that hand up. You may have a roadmap, you may have someone pointing you down that path, but you still have to put in that work. And that's something that I really respect about you, Corey. You still put in that work. And you guys, his spirit, Corey's spirit, is so light and free, and his energy is something that's so positive. So no matter what you are going through, I'm sure that you've gone through things, but I know I could never tell. And that's another thing in terms of his brand. His brand is something is of a person that you really want to be around, that you want to have part of your team, because he brings that positive energy. I'm also smiling about this, Corey, because my father watched the interview that I did with Brandis, and Brandis, my dad enjoyed your information that you shared regarding your experience overseas. For those of you who had not tuned in and was there live or did not see the replay of the interview that I did with Brandis, Immaculate Training, it's my first live interview. And Brandis has been playing professional basketball for 10 years internationally, and his experiences have been amazing. And so, Corey, you sharing information about China, seeing the Great Wall and all of that, like we're experiencing this through you now, through your eyes. So, what was your first impression when you went to China on the tour, and how long were you there?
I was there for a month, and my first impression was, wow. Like, I mean, I couldn't believe it. I mean, it's. I'll tell you one thing. I'll tell you one thing about uh, Chinese people. Like, they love us. They love people of color. They really do. I was with a group of guys, of course, and they see you, and they, NBA, NBA, NBA. And for me, in my mind, this is all. These are words and terms that resonate with me right away. So it's inspiring in a lot of ways, and um, the people are open. I remember arriving in Beijing, and then they get some money, we can go out, get food, whatever. And I remember just eating out, having a blast. Well, I also didn't say this. When I actually went on a tour, I turned 28. No, I turned 23 um, on the way to China. So
Mm,
literally, as I'm landing, I'm 23 years on this planet, and
wow.
so that was unique for me also. We flew out the day before my birthday. It was like 12 hours, and then we landed on my birthday. So I'm wanting to eat a meal, and I ended up eating with some Chinamen who I'll probably never see again. But
That's awesome.
my my first initial take was I'm on foreign territory, and make your mark. You know, don't leave any don't leave any regrets. Give this your best.
Yes, that's good. And you also mentioned that when you were in China, that's when you knew right away that you were a professional. What was it about that experience that really had you feel like this is it?
Just the playing part. I was able to play. I was able to really feel confident on the basketball court. It's my form of expression. It's my art. I was able to see what not giving up, and continuing to believe in a dream, and to see it shape, and to see it form. Uh, Not to mention, I mean, I did a tour in the fall of my first year out of college. I didn't get a job until that next year,
Mhm.
but I knew a year in advance where I was going, and this is the mindset that I knew I had to adopt. Like I referenced me in college, I didn't have this mindset. I didn't have it, um, but it
What's
taught
that
me a lesson.
mindset? What's that
The
mindset,
things that I
Corey?
experienced, not being prepared, not
What's that mind?
it's knowing. It's
Mhm.
it's, it's, it's you already know. You already know where you're going. You already know where you're going. You just know. You just know. You can go into a game, or you can go into a playoff series, or you go into a test, and you know the outcome already because you prepared for it.
Mhm. Mhm. And it's also, I guess,
That's their mindset. I
that's
was
that
prepared for.
knowing, knowing. I wonder, that's something that a lot of young people need to hear more of, especially during this time. It's to have that mindset of knowing, to really think ahead and craft exactly what it is. I just finished this week training a group of men as new apprentices. This was my first week with them, and when we talked about goals, they were so vague. And I told them, you have to be more specific. You have to almost visualize yourself doing it. And what does that look like? What does that feel like? Who is around you? What are you wearing even? Like, you really have to dig deep. You cannot be vague with your goals, with your aspirations. And I feel a lot of young people are, but you, even as a young person, it's important. And so now that you see that, and you see when you do that and you visualize and focus on what's to come, not necessarily saying that it's going to happen like that, because God has the last word. Your steps are ordered by him, but he gives you the wherewithal to even think, so you can think about what's to come. So if it sounds like that's really benefited you a lot. Brandis, do you have that same experience, or is that how you kind of go through your life and your profession as well?
Yeah, you have those experiences, and I totally agree with what Corey is saying. And just thinking about you, or reminiscing about you talking about China, and the mindset of like already knowing. Yeah, that is a big part. You gotta have blind faith. A lot of people don't understand the power of faith. Faith like goes back thousands of years. It's in biblical. It's written about in the Bible, and it's, if you look at quotes from a ton of entrepreneurs in all fields of businesses, they always talk about faith. You got to have blind faith in
Yeah.
your abilities and the hard work that you put in. Like, you can't go into a basketball contest and not have faith about your abilities. If you lack faith, you're not going to have confidence. And without confidence, you can't do anything. So it starts with having just supreme faith in everything that you do.
Yeah.
And that's one thing I know that Corey and I learned from our parents. And it's always like, whatever you want to do growing up, whatever goal you have, you got to have faith that you can achieve that goal. So we've taken that, and it's good to see him talk about his experiences and stuff like that. So it's good.
Absolutely. I love that blind faith, faith over fear. I remember my husband's first 3 years in the league, and he felt like he was a super fan that had the opportunity to be on a team with his role models, with, people that he looked up to. He was drafted to the Giants, and they just won that Super Bowl in '91. So, you're talking about Lawrence Taylor, Pepper Johnson, Jumbo Elliott, all of them, Carl Banks. But he played during the preseason, and that was it. During the regular season, he would be dressed in his regular clothes on the sidelines. He really didn't travel with the team. He did not feel like he was really truly part of the team in that way. And during camps, and he was Jumbo Elliott's backup, who was a first rounder, all pro, so he's like, I don't even know why they drafted me. They didn't need me. This was before text messages. This is before internet and all that. And so I would write him letters, and I would write him, letters that would say, you have to act as if. You have to walk in those locker rooms as if you are a starter. You have to carry yourself not as someone that just, works or practices with them, but someone who is part of them. Like, you have to see yourself as that. And he, I know he was reading my letters, and I'm not saying that my letters was the only thing. It was also definitely prayer, and then just him starting to have that belief. For the next 7 years out of his 10-year career, he was a starter. And so you can't always look at your moment, at your current circumstance. You have to see yourself in what you need to be and where you are trying to go. And oftentimes it comes to pass. And when it does, you can never forget how you felt, because you need to reach back and help others who may be feeling that way, to encourage them to have that blind faith, to believe in themselves more, to believe that God has this, trust the process, and it sounds like, Corey, that's what you did, because if you finished school and, took off that year, and it's just like, wow, really, like, what's going on? But you still kept the faith, you still worked out, you still kept up with that process, and you got stronger mentally, it sounds like, too, which is important. It's not just the physical, it's mental, it's emotional, it's spiritual. And you were able to reach a lot of your goals. So you were in China for that year during that tour, and it looks like you had been in so many amazing places: Estonia, Spain, Germany, Santa Cruz. The place from 2019 to 2020, I can't even say it. It's Prison Casa Bova. I mean,
Prisoner in Kosovo.
okay. So after China,
Prisoner.
Okay. After China, the tour in China, how did your profession propel after that?
Well, immediately after I jumped into coaching, and now I'm coaching with Coach Ashley, my sister-in-law, of course, and, and I'm learning all over again. Okay, now I played as a professional. I've proven to myself that hey, I can play at this level. I know this. I've done it. I know this. Now it's back to the books, back to the basics. Now I'm coaching. Now I'm coaching. Now I have to manage, not myself but others. All the while managing myself.
Mm-hmm.
Accountability, discipline. I'm working on all these habits day in and day out. At the same time, I'm a coach, and I'm coaching young women immediately allowed me to be able to relate to whatever coach that I've had since, because I was able to see, hey, what I expect from my players, as a coach. So I would kind of play this game and just I was in a position as a coach to the young players, but at the same time I'm a player myself, and they wouldn't think that way, but I would, and it just gave me a different perspective, and I was able to see things differently. I, my first job in Estonia, I advise anybody to ask my coach who was the first person in the gym and who was the last person to leave, or any one of my teammates, and I made that my mark, my mo, to the point where I may have overworked myself, but I didn't see it as overwork. I just saw it as me, not leaving anything to chance, and that's what I did, and I learned so much from doing that. Um, but that was me, and that's where things went from China. It went from me, having a coaching experience, and then I'm through the process again. I had a spring to prepare, and I had a summer to prepare, and I was blessed with an opportunity to travel abroad, to travel in Europe, and have a chance to find a team.
Mm-hmm. What was your favorite country to play in, and why?
That's a good question. Favorite country and why? I would say I really really like Spain. I like Spain because of the culture, um, of the basketball level. I didn't play at the top level in Spain, but the top level in Spain is probably the top domestic level in all of Europe. And they have really good basketball players. I mean, Luka Doncic came from Spain. It's where if you're a good European player and you're gonna get drafted to the NBA from Europe, more than likely you play in Spain. Like Luka Doncic, he's not Spanish, he's Slovenian, but he played in Spain.
Mm.
Um, Kristaps Porzingis, he was Lithuania, but he played in Spain. And it's so many other guys. So just being able to watch that level of basketball day in and day out, play it because they actually play basketball the right way. They run their sets. Coaches are good coaches. Everybody's into basketball. Not as much. Okay, they're into soccer more because soccer is the biggest
Oh
sport
yeah.
in the world. But everyone's into basketball, and they're into all the tactics. So I really appreciated Spain in that regard. And I lived in the mainland of Spain, and also lived in the Canaries. And Brandon's he's been to the Canaries. He's played out there. Canaries consists of six islands,
Mm-hmm.
and I mean, when I say it's one of the most beautiful places I've been. I personally recommend people to travel there. Travel to the Canaries.
Wow.
Travel to the Canaries. It was immaculate.
Wow. I I didn't know that about Spain, that they really crank out some of the top, when they come from international to the NBA, that a lot of times, most of the times, they're coming from Spain. Um, I heard about the Canaris Islands, so that's where Montenegro is.
Montenegro is not in the Canaries. Montenegro is, Brandis can tell you better what Montenegro is. It's interesting enough. Uh, the country that I played in this year, Kosovo or Prizren,
Mm-hmm.
is a neighboring country to Montenegro. So, for an example, Brandis, he was in Montenegro this year to start the season, and we played against one another. Well, we didn't play against one another, but I went to visit him.
Mm-hmm.
I wish we had played against one another, but I went to visit him, and that was, I mean, I've been in a different country before. We were both in Estonia for different teams, so that was a tremendous experience. But this time around, seeing him again in a different place, experiencing a different place together, was great. So I really appreciated that. Montenegro is, Brandis, how would you explain the geography of Montenegro? It's ex-Yugoslavia.
Yeah, so it's like
it's a Balkan country, Balkan Sea, right?
yeah, so so Yugoslavia. So I'll try to explain it. If North Carolina and South Carolina were combined and it was just Carolina,
Mm-hmm.
right? Go to the beaches. So go to like Wilmington and Myrtle Beach. And if you were to map only the beaches out and say, this is Little Carolina, like Montenegro is literally a beach. That's it. It's a country that's on a beach. It is a island, but it's a country. That's
Wow.
what it's paradise, to be honest with you. The landscape, it's mountains, palm trees, and water. And it's 80 degrees year round. So it's like, it's different.
Yeah. Mm.
We're blessed. I mean, to be able to play all over the world and talk about this kind of stuff, man, Corey, we oftentimes talk about this. It's a blessing. We just got to continue to give back and continue to share our experiences, because there's somebody else that's watching this, and this is going to travel to someone else, and they're going to use all the nuggets that we're giving out, and they're going to use that to propel their career. So continue to give back, Corey. Coach Sherri is providing this wonderful platform for us. I mean, thank you again, Coach Sherri, so much. This is awesome.
I love it.
It's great to be a part of it.
Yes. And I want to go to the chat real quick. I see the Creative Creole is in the building. I missed you, sis. I haven't seen you in a while, so it's good to see her here. I know Candy's here. Candy had to step away for a little bit, and I appreciated her for being here. Immaculate Training, thank you for dropping those nuggets in the chat for people to capture in case they missed it. Corey, I wanted to ask you, and also Brandis, with the state of the world with the pandemic, and I know, even schools and sports and everything, businesses are just in limbo. Nothing is set. What is the word out on the street about basketball overseas? What are the plans for the upcoming season?
Basketball is being played right now. Germany and Spain just finished their restart. They restarted their league the same way the NBA is about to restart. July 30th. Those leagues restarted in early June, and they just finished. They crowned a champion. China's playing right now, the top league in China. So basketball is going on. Israel's playing also. They're about to start that TBT tournament this weekend, tomorrow.
Mm-hmm.
So basketball is coming back, and I'm not an expert on what's going on with the virus and anything like that, but I wish that we continue to practice the right kind of habits and obviously stay healthy. But if we're playing sports and if they're starting basketball and they're getting groups of people around, it says a lot about the severity of a pandemic if you're having sports. So for businesses, for organizations that may be hit hard, I would say now is the time to kind of make that transition from whatever you've done in the past to whatever's going to work in the future. And I think everything is moving online, live stream, everything is digital. So if you don't have that kind of platform in your business, you need to get that platform now, or else you're going to be behind.
Yeah.
You got to learn how to monetize your business through views, through, for an example, Coach Sherri, what you're doing. You have a great platform, and this is what the future is. People want to be in front of a camera. People want to be live. This is what everything is moving to. I'm pretty sure that they're going to be streaming games in the NBA on multiple platforms, and companies are going to monetize views, and they're going to make a ton of money from it. I'm sure that there's going to be people all over the world watching NBA.
Yeah.
So this is the new. So I just would suggest any businesses, I would think to say businesses that are ran by older individuals who may not be as savvy with tech as the Gen X, as the teenagers and the young adults of today. Do your homework, figure out how to use the tech, how to make it work in your business, get online, do more videos, put that stuff out, because this is where everything is going now.
It is. It's called leveling up and skilling up
Exactly.
as well. It's so important. I don't want to take anything away from Corey. However, I do want to ask you, Brandis, how was your exposure camp that you just had a couple of weeks ago in South Carolina? And what did you have to do differently in order to, get with the times?
Well, it went very, very well. And I was blessed enough to be out in China when the pandemic hit, and I was in Hong Kong. And when I say I was blessed, meaning Hong Kong has handled the pandemic very, very well. They have literally no cases at all in their country. Their country's pretty much back to normal. And I would say they're probably about 8 or 9 months ahead of the US as far as what's going on. Like, there's nothing shut down. Everything is moving. They've mitigated the virus. So I had an idea of how workouts and stuff were going to go, what you needed to do, the precautions that needed to be taken, the social distancing and all that. Like, I already knew that kind of stuff because we did it when I was in practice out there. They told me about the mask, and they told me about the temperature checks and the hygiene. And you'd be surprised. It all comes down to hygiene. It all comes down to identifying, hey, you look like you may be sick. Maybe you don't need to be around other people that are healthy because maybe you will spread your sickness to other people. It comes down to small things like that. So the workout went extremely well, man. We had a lot of talent in there. All the guys that came in, we followed all the safety precautions. We had temperature checks. I had the participants fill out biostat sheet the day before. That way I had an idea of how everybody was feeling. We had everything lined up. We had social distancing. We didn't have any fans or any parents or kids or anybody else that was really in the gym. It was all basketball. Everybody was healthy. If you weren't on the court participating, you had a mask on and you distanced yourself from everybody else. So it was very organized. It went well. I had a NBA G League coach there. A ton of people received the film it was a workout. It wasn't a camp. They received the film from the workout, and a ton of guys got interest.
Good.
A few guys I know, Corey got an offer. He probably won't tell you guys, but he got an offer from.
Wait, why won't he tell us?
I guess I'm breaking the news now, but he got an offer. Breaking news. Real talk with Coach Sherri. Corey Raley-Ross got 2 offers from the workout.
Wow.
And he got 2 offers. So, and there was other players that also received offers and interest from other teams. So it went well. Anytime you can have a platform and then you can have guys attend your platform and then get their goals, which is the ultimate goal, is an opportunity to go play. And then once you get that offer and once teams are looking at it, what more can you ask for? So A ton of guys got those opportunities. So it went well.
That's so awesome. That's so cool. I want to say, I see that Oh, thank you, Carter Eats. She said she had dinner, but she's still here. And Boss Life Online, I see that you're here. Thank you for joining the live. I appreciate you. I appreciate everyone for being here in the building today. Let's see. I want to read this chat. Oh, okay. Oh, Corey can't hear. He's saying, I don't know how to get him to hear. Okay,
I'm good now.
I want to start. Oh, okay, good. So I wanted to say we talked about leveling up through hard work, commitment, and protecting your brand. Corey, during the time that you had from college to taking that gap year to coaching to playing overseas, how have you protected your personal brand?
Can you repeat the question again? This
Yes.
last part?
How have you protected your personal brand? Who you are. How have you protected that so that you're showing up how you need to show up so that people can have that respect for you and give you those opportunities?
Well, I mean, I think it starts with it starts with myself. Fortunate myself, I have great examples in my life. People who understand the means of branding. Brand this, for an example, he has Immaculate training, so I've been able to identify, what it takes to, orchestrate a successful business, all the while in a profession.
Mm-hmm.
My dad, he has his own business, so I'm able to see it from his retrospect also. And you just have to be accountable. You have to do your work early. There's no substitute for hard work. And the only thing that a man has is his word. So you want to be on time. You want to be prompt. You don't want to make excuses. Protecting your brand is protecting yourself. It's protecting your identity.
Yes.
I mean, I can go on and on, but in short, for me, the outlier, the keys are the key. Just to stay prepared. You know, don't let anyone else outwork you. And this is new for me. Uh, Inspect what you expect,
Mm.
and you know what I expect in my life. I'm gonna go over it again and again and again. I'm gonna continue to inspect what I expect of myself in my life,
I
what
love
I'm
it.
doing and what I'm not doing versus this and that. So
That
that's
is,
something new. That's that I picked up. So I've been running with that.
I love that. Brandon, so you gonna drop that in the chat? Inspect what you inspect what you inspect what you
Expect.
Expect
expect.
of yourself.
Yes. I love that. Inspect what you expect. Yes, and you have to, and that's how you align it all with the values. And Corey, you also mentioned something before about values, and that's something that I was just going over with my new apprentices. It's what you value in others is what others want to value in you, what they expect in you as well. So you cannot just go through life thinking you want this and that from everyone else. You have to also reflect on yourself and how are you showing up, how are you exhibiting those values as well, and that is so important. So, and also congratulations, Corey, on your 2 offers that you did not share. Congratulations with that. What is new? What's coming up next moving forward for Corey Raley-Ross? What can we expect?
What's on the horizon for next season?
Yes.
Um, thank you, thank you. At this stage, I don't know. I'm optimistic. I live by being optimistic. I think this is the best version of our reality that we live in, and so yeah, I've received interest from a couple teams that I've heard from. So it's also good that I'm familiar with these teams, these coaches. It makes me feel more comfortable with them. But for the time being, until I'm able to see, that their basketball is, surefire going on, I'm gonna be patient. I'm gonna continue to prepare, and I'm gonna continue to be optimistic on making a decision.
Okay, that sounds good. Um, Being optimistic is important, especially during this time. But we're expecting great things from you. We are excited for you. I know that you have some new fans. I see them in the chat. And so I'm excited. And I think that the fact, and you said this in the beginning, how basketball is played slightly differently all over. And the fact that you can pivot and maneuver in those different arenas makes you even that much more of a better player, because not everyone can go from one situation to the other and have levels of success that you've experienced, because they get to the point where they'll say, oh, they don't play it like this where I just came from, or oh, I don't want to play over there. You have to seize the opportunity, and I know that's what you've been doing, so kudos to you for doing that. And I hope that in any realm of things that people are going through, that they recognize that just because something's not done the way you're used to it being done doesn't mean that you can't do it. It's another skill that you are picking up. So I'm sure along the way, Corey, you too, Brandon, that y'all picked up so many amazing basketball skills that is just going to increase your value even beyond your actual playing career. If it's coaching that you want to go into, if it's training that you want to go into, you'll be able to insert all of those valuable nuggets that you've learned along the way into others. So that is going to be dynamic. Brandis, what's on the horizon for you?
Uh, a lot right now. I'm just trying to continue to work on my body and to stay ready mentally. Reading a lot of books. My goal this month is to read 5 books, and I have a nice catalog of books that I'm trying to knock out, and just trying to grow mentally, because I feel as though if I can expand myself mentally, then everything else will kind of fall into place. I have a few workouts that's set up for this month. I have one in about 2 weeks. Everybody, the invites and stuff are starting to go out, so I'm targeting the type of guy that we would want to be a part of what we do. And so that's it, just moving in silence and preparing for the worst, hoping for the best, and just sharpening my mind mentally. That's about it.
Yes, absolutely. And if you guys have not already subscribed to Immaculate Training, and what is your YouTube channel, Brandis? If you could put it down in the box. Let me see.
Yes, it's Immaculate Training, and it's spelled the way it sounds. It's one word. That's it.
I highly recommend that you capture him, and especially if you have young people that are into sports that, and during this time they want to see some exciting new sports, and taking Corey's advice of looking at different players. Don't forget looking at yourself too, but look at different players and how they're making their moves, and maybe they can incorporate some of those moves into their game to make them a better player so that they can level up and skill up. Also, with Immaculate Training, I'll have the link to his YouTube page in my description box below. Corey, do you have a YouTube channel yet? It's a little delay with Corey. Do you have a YouTube channel yet?
I didn't hear.
Do you have a YouTube channel yet?
I do.
Okay. So what is your YouTube channel?
I do.
What is it?
It's Omni King.
Can you put that in there,
You want me to type it to you, or
Brandis is going to put it in, and then I'm going to put the link to Corys I Am King to his YouTube channel in my description box as well. That's awesome. And what is your channel about, Corey?
It's Omni, like Omni King, and it has a plethora of my highlights, others highlights. There's some cool things.
Okay. This way that
gauge get a good scope.
I love it. So it's OMM. Okay, I got it. So this way the listeners can also keep up with what you're doing as well. You can also find Corey as well as Brandis on Instagram. And this is Corey's Instagram account. Please be sure to follow, check them out. Corey, before we bring this to a close, I'm going to get one of my red cards that I have, and I'm going to select one and ask you a random question. My last question of you. Corey, when was the last time you were surprised?
When was the last time I was what?
Surprised. Surprised.
Can you ask a question?
When was
the last time I was surprised?
Surprise, like surprise.
Oof. Oh man, I don't. Last time I was surprised. I can't recall. When I wake up in the morning, I mean, I don't know. I'm excited to be up, excited to have another day, excited to be excited to give this day my all. So it's a surprising feeling, I guess. It's an exciting feeling for me.
Yeah.
Something I can relate to, me being surprised.
I'm trying to tell you, I've been surprised by that myself and happy about that new chance, new beginning each day gives. Absolutely. Corey, do you have any questions for me? Do you have any questions for me?
I do. I'm sorry, I can't hear you as well as I would like.
I know, it's fine.
How long did it take you come up with a platform like this to give individuals like myself an opportunity to express my journey?
Well, a few years ago.
In other words, what was the groundwork behind it?
What was the groundwork behind it? So, a few years ago, I had a radio show on Blog Radio through a platform called Talk to Me Sports Radio. And the premise behind that was I wanted to talk to athletes, current and or former, and learn about what would their life after sports be. Because, once the lights go out, people don't always consider what does an athlete do at that point. And I know so many athletes that are doing amazing things in so many different arenas outside of the sport. And I just love that as interesting conversation. And I felt like that was something that people don't really get into, or to learn more about sports on a different level. Like, not a lot of people know about, at least people that I know, don't know a lot about international basketball and how that flows. So, that's why I love it when, you and Brandis can come on and tell us more. Well, I stopped doing that radio show about after 100 episodes because it was too, I don't want to call it time consuming, but I just couldn't keep up with the schedule that I had, because when you on a blog radio show, there's other hosts and you have your time slot, your day, and you have to stick with it. It's not a lot of flexibility. So I couldn't keep up with it with my family and everything going on. So I pulled out, but I've always been on YouTube, not as a content creator, but I just always would come on YouTube and look at it. I might put a video out once a year or so, about workforce development, career readiness, or entrepreneurship, but I didn't really take it seriously or go full force until I want to say this year, really. I connected with another YouTuber. Her name is Sister Fifi Tyson, and she invited me onto her platform as a guest. And in talking with her, she said, "It sounds like you need to relaunch Real Talk with Coach Sherri." And at that moment, it just made so much sense to me. Like, yeah, I could do it, here on YouTube. I'll have flexibility, if like we had technical problems last week, Corey, and I was still able to do my live. I'm able to do, different things however I need to do it. Well, last Sunday we were supposed to. So I love the flexibility that this gives. I love putting out content where people can capture nuggets, maybe see things differently, hear new things that they never considered, and just learn. I wanted to be a platform where people could learn. So it was really just about doing it. Instead of talking about it, I needed to be about it. And so I invited Brandis. I went to my comfort zone, someone I was already connected with and familiar with, and knew that he would have a wealth of information to share. And that's basically how I relaunched Real Talk with Coach Sherri. And that's my story, and I'm sticking to it. So that's my goal, and I hope that, tonight that people were able to capture some amazing nuggets. I mean, Corey, you have a lot to be proud of from whence you came and from where you are to go. You are a professional. You are doing your thing. You're able to work within your passion that not a lot of people have that opportunity. Just keep getting better each day. Keep learning. Brandis, I love that you're reading 5 books a month. That's remarkable. You're inspiring me. I need to read more. I love reading. So I'm going to, not 5 books a month because I have so much going on, but I am definitely going to start doing more reading. Corey, just continue to grow, soak in everything that you're learning. Your steps are still being ordered. My steps are still being ordered. Brandis, yours are too. So just trust the process. Go along that path. I can't wait to see where it's going to lead you for your next stop. It's not going to be your last stop, but just your next stop. And I know that you're going to be prepared and take full advantage of all the opportunities that come your way. All right. Do you have any last words you would like to say, Corey, to our guests? Brandis, I'm going to pull you down, but stay on still. You have any last words, Corey, that you would like to share?
I would like to say thank you. Again, thank you for the opportunity. Thank you for the platform. I know it probably hasn't been the clearest, video, but
It's
things
fine.
go in and out. But I truly greatly appreciate it, Coach Sherri.
Yes.
You like me, you know what it takes to be a professional athlete, with your husband and all, being a football player at the highest level, and it takes a lot of discipline. And I want to, more than anything, just be a person of value in this life. I've been fortunate to be born with really good people around me, and they've helped me to become a good person, have a good heart, have a good spirit, and I want to give back, all the learnings, that I have, and I feel like doing so will open me up. So I'm happy with life, and I'm happy that I can express myself the way that I can, and I'm happy to have good people around me.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And with that being said, I want to thank everyone for being in this live, the Creative Creole, Immaculate Training, Pandy's Hair Candy and More, Carter's Each, Be the Difference Clothing, InQ's World. Let's see who else. Boss Life Online, and everyone who did not come into the chat. Also, Monique Scott and her family tuned in. I'm happy for that. And thank you for those who were not able to get into the chat or were listening. I appreciate you for being in the building, for supporting this. I hope that you stay safe until we speak again. And remember, this has been Real Talk with Coach Sherri.